Okay, good evening everyone. We're continuing Masechta Nedarim, Daf Hashavua, Daf Hey, Amud Aleph. We start from the bottom on Dalet Amud Beis. The Gemara said, explaining the Mishnah, the end of the Mishnah said, Ha'imar lechaveroi, mudrani mimcha, mufrashani mimcha, meruchukani mimcha. I am usher in a neder to you. I'm separated from you. I'm distant from you. That I'm gonna shani oichalach, that I'm gonna eat from you. Shani toimlach, what I'm gonna taste from you. Usher. The Mishnah only says usher one time. Shmuel commented on the Mishnah that in all these cases, these are not two separate cases. It's one long case. If you say mudar amudrani mimcha, mufrashani mimcha, merchukani mimcha, you're only usher if you add Shani oichalach, shani toimlach. But if you don't add those words, you're not usher. The Gemara asks from a brisa that just said mudar ani mimcha, mefrashani mimcha, merchani mimcha, usher alone. Shani oichalach, shani toimlach, usher alone. To which the Gemara interpreted bamedva mamurim when you said mudrani shani oichalach, shani toimlach. Mudrani mefrushani is usher when you add shani oichalach, shani toimlach. Then the Gemara brought a brisa that quotes the halachas of cases mamis in the exact opposite. Hey Yehuda, we're just reviewing the bottom of Dalet Amud Beis. We didn't even start the new Hey Amud Aleph yet, okay? And then the Gemara says the Gemara quoted a brisa where the brisa first says shani oichalach shani toimlach Asr, and then mudrani mimcha mefrashami mimcha asr, and there you can't say bamed dvarim amurim because it says shani oichalach shani toimlach, and that the Gemara interprets it as shani oichalach shani toimlach is asr if you had already said mudrani mimcha mefrashani mimcha. To which the Gemara asks, well then it's a repetition of the first brisa, and why would it say usr twice? It should just say usr one time. So we have to revamp Shmuel's statement. That's what we're up to. Says the Gemara, Ella Amar Shmuel, but Shmuel says as follows, Taima de Amar Shani Oichalach Shani Taimach. The reason why only the person who made the neder is usher is because he added that I will eat from you, that I will taste from you. That's why hu da usher v'chaveroi mutar. That's why he's usher and his friend is mutar. Aval im amar mudrani heimach lechudei. But if he just said I am usher to as a neder from you, or mufrashani mimcha, I am separated from you, or merchukani mimcha, I am distant from you, and he didn't say shani oichalach shani toimlach, that I'm going to eat, that I'm going to taste, then shneim asrim, then they're both asr to each other. The reason why only the guy who makes the neder is asr to the person who he made the neder to is because he added that I'm going to eat from you and that I'm going to taste from you, meaning only I'm asr to you and you're not asr to me. But if he wouldn't have added the words shani oichalach shani toyimlach, he just would have said mudrani mimcha mefrashani mimcha. What he's saying is I'm asr to you and you're asr to me. So in other words, that's what Shmuel is teaching. You don't need to say shani oichalach shani toyimlach because otherwise it's not a good yad. Right? Remember, in the Gemara's original understanding, we're talking about yados, and in order for a yad to be effective, it has to be conclusive. So we thought that Shmuel was saying that merely saying mudrani mimcha mefrushani mimcha is not indicative that you're making a neder. You need to add shani toyimlach shani oichalach. Now we're saying no. The reason why you need to say shani oichalach shani toyimlach is not because otherwise it's not a yad. It's because otherwise we both would be asr to each other, and you need to say shani oichalach shani toimlach to make it that only I'm asr to you and you're not asr to me. Take a look in the Ran. We're going to start on the Ran on Dalet Amud Beis. Ela hachi ka'amar Shmuel. Says the Ran, Devadei Shmuel gufei moida. Shmuel himself would agree. The hanach masnisa that the above mentioned braysos, mili mili katani, taught two distinct halachas. The b'chol chad, mitzar. Each statement alone would create an isser, whether you say mudrani mimcha or whether you say shani oichalach. Ela miu ka'amar, but rather he's saying demasnisin chada katani. Our Mishnah though is saying one long case. De'iyu mili mili katani. If our Mishnah was two separate cases, why would it only say asr once? Hechi tani b'chad asr. Why would it say asr once? Because the loy shavu, they're not equal. De b'madrani mimcha shnei amasurin. If you say madrani mimcha, they're both asr to each other. Uveshani oichalach. That case, he's asr and his friend is mutter. So therefore, the braisas are two separate cases. The Mishnah is not two separate cases, because if it was two separate cases, it would have two separate halachas. Mudrani mimcha were asr to each other. Shani oichalach, only am asr to you. Bishlama masnisa katani asr asr. In the Mishnah, it taught asr two times. Umashma shaper, that would imply kol chad v'chad kedinai. Each one has its separate halacha. Ela masnisin, but our Mishnah mili nami katani. If it was two separate halachas, then it should have said asr havalei lemisni. Ela vadai chada katani. It's only saying one isser. V'hu asr. In the Mishnah, he is asr v'chaverei mutter. Okay. Umisham hachi, therefore, ka'amar, dahai dina lesa ela ba'omer nami shani oichalach. The din that I am asr to you and you are mutter to me is only if I explain and add that I will eat from yours. In other words, if I say mudrani mimcha sha'ani oichalach, then I'm asr to you, but you're not asr to me. Avol mudrani mimcha l'chud, but if I just say mudrani mimcha, we're both asr to each other. And we're going to have to explain why that would be. So Shmuel is saying that the Mishnah is referring to, you know why? The halacha is, I'm asr to you and you're mutter to me because I added sha'ani oichalach v'shani tayimlach. But if I just would have said mudrani mimcha for shani mimcha, then we would both be asr to each other. Why? And the Gemara brings another support to this din of our understanding of Shmuel. Ki hada amar Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, like Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina taught, mudrani heimach, if I just say I am asur to a neder from you, shnei masurin, they're both asur to each other. Says the Ran. Take a look in the Ran. Da amar Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, mudrani heimach, shnei masurin. Nera be'enai, says the Ran, it would seem in my eyes, the hainu taima. This is the reason why they would be both asr to each other if he just says mudrani hemach without saying sha'ani oichalach. The hainu taima mishum demashma mudar ani unachasai mimcha. When I say I am asr in a nether to you, I mean me, mudrani, I am asr to you, and my possessions are asr to you. And I'm saying, who am I asr to? I am asr to you and to your possessions. Hilkach kiven de bechlal ani haven a chasam. So that means when I say ani, it doesn't just mean me. It means my possessions. My possessions are asr to you and your possessions. I'm saying me and all my possessions. What do I have already? My books over here, my sign, my picture. Me, it's all me, is also to all of you. So I'm making me and my stuff on one side, and that's also to you, but I'm distancing you and your stuff from me, so you and your stuff are also to me. So Hilkach kiven de bechlal ani havin a chasam, since included in I are my possessions. Al kocha chaverei nami asur boy, his friend is asur to him. Di iloi. The Eloi, because otherwise, Nechasim lav b'nei is hanuye mechaver nino. Nechasim are not able to get hana, they're not capable of getting hana.
Just saying that is so it must be there for some reason. So the reason that it must be there in the neder is so that the other person would be also there.
The Ran is saying there's an expanded understanding of the words I and you. When I say that I am usher to you, I mean not just you can't get hana from my person, from my body, but my possessions are also usher to you. But when I say it's usher to you, it's usher to your possessions. Now, so I'm saying that I am usher to you. I means my possessions are usher to you. But then, you are usher to me. Because when I'm including your possessions can't get hana. I'm, so to speak, setting aside you and your possessions from me. I can't get hana from you and your possessions. But what do I mean when I set aside you from me? You can't get hana from me. So, if I would not have added shani oichalach, shani tayimlach, the halacha would have been that we would both be usher to each other. That is the opinion of Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, Mudrani Heimach Shneim Asurin. Okay, now we're going to challenge. What?
We answered up the usher problem in Shmuel, but we didn't answer up the two brises. The two brises are still saying the same thing.
The two brises are what?
One of the problems with Shmuel was that Hainu ratio, that the two brises seem to be saying the same thing. Isn't that still true?
I hear, maybe, now that we're learning that there are mili katani, it's the second brisa that really indicates that it's mili katani. Since from the first brisa you could have interpreted it ba'med dvar mamurim. It's from the second brisa maybe that we see that we don't interpret it ba'med dvar mamurim. Because don't say the second brisa is interpreted as like the lashon of the Gemara is where you said ukvar omar, because then it's a repetition. So the second brisa teaches that both brisas are really mili katani, perhaps. Okay. The Gemara continues. Tanan. We learned in the Mishnah. Hareini alecha cherem. Behold, I am upon you a cherem. Hamudar asar. The one who the neder was made against is asar. Aval hamadir lai, the one who made the neder, is not asar. Meaning, I'm saying hareini alecha cherem. That means you are us. I am to you a cherem. I am asar to you. But you're not asar to me. Aval hamadir lai. But what do you mean? You didn't say sha'ani oichalach, sha'ani tayim lach, that I'm not going to get hana from you. Meaning, in this case, you said hareini alecha cherem. Let's again go back to the Mishnah. In the Mishnah you said mudrani mimcha. I am asar to you. I am asar to you. And we say, had you not added shani toyim lach, that I am not going to get enough from you, then not only would I be asr to you, but you would be asr to me. Right? How are we interpreting Shmuel? It's needed to say shani oichalach, shani toyim lach, that I'm not going to eat from you, because if I don't say that I'm not going to eat from you, not only will I not eat from you, but you can't eat from me. But here we see, hareini alecha cherem, I am to you a cherem. I am usher to you. That I am usher to you, hamudar usher. The one who the neder was made against is usher. Avhal madir loy, but the one who made the neder, I could still get hana from you. It's only you can't get hana from me. So that's not like Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina. So it's a stira to Shmuel. So the Gemara says, no, Kagoin de Parish. You know what we're talking about? Where he said explicitly, I am usher to you as a cherem, but you are not usher to me. We're talking about va'adol, but you to me are not usher. So it's not a stira to Shmuel. The reason why it wouldn't be both ways is hachav where you explicated that you are not usher to me. So the Gemara says, well, the Mishnah continues, Adolai cherem, you are to me cherem, you are usher to me. So then the halach is hanoider usher, the guy who made the neder is usher. Aval mudar, the one who the neder was made to, is not usher. If I say, you to me are usher, so I can't get hana from you, but you could get hana from me. So we see again, not like Shmuel. Says the Gemara, Kagoin de Parish. We're talking about where you explicitly said that Va'ana alachlai, and I to you not, and I am not usher to you. So that means we're saying that the reason why it would not be two ways is because you explicitly said it's only one way. But stama, if you wouldn't have explained that, avo stama mai, what would the halacha be stama? Then shneim asur, they would both be usher. But the Mishnah ends off, it says in the end of the Mishnah, Hareini alecha ve'ad alai shneim asurim. If I explicitly, you can't say the case is that the reason why it's only usher one way is because you expressly said that it's only usher one way, because the Mishnah ends off, Hamidiktani, Hareini alecha ve'ad alai shneim asurim, from the fact that it says, I am usher to you and you are usher to me, they're both usher. Hadinhu d'shneim asurim. In this case, they're both asur. Ha-stama, but if we wouldn't have explained it, hu asur v'chaver mutter. If we wouldn't have said it both ways, then I'm asur if I said, you are asur to me, but you would be mutter to get hana from me. So the Mishnah basically says explicitly, we're only both asur to each other if I say explicitly, I am usher to you, you are usher to me. If I wouldn't have said that, we would not be both usher. That's not like Shmuel. Or it's seemingly not like Shmuel, not like Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina. Look in the Ran. Tnan, Hareini olecha cherem, hamudur usher avamadar lai. Va'amai, why, nema? Why don't we say, if I say Hareini olecha, I upon you, I am usher to you. Nema de alecha nami koila chaverai. Alecha means you, v'nechasav, and your possessions. V'kivan shekain, af hamadir. If I say I am usher to you, then I'm separating myself from you. Then I should. If I'm saying I'm usher to you, I should not be able to get hana from you. V'kivan shekain af hamadir litzer. De iloi nichse chaverai. The Eloi, because otherwise, otherwise, if I'm not usher to you, then your possessions can't get hana from me. What I mean is, you should not be able to get hana from me. At olai cherem, if I say, you to me are usher in a cherem, then I can't get hana from you. But you could get hana from me. Va'amai, nema da alai. When I say me, it includes myself and my nechasim. So then you should not be able to get hana from my nechasim. V'litzer mudar di iloi, because otherwise nechsi didei la v'nei asnuye minei ninu. In other words, if I say you to me are usher in a cherem, you are usher to a cherem, then I am usher. I can't get hana from you, because your possessions are usher to me. But by the same token, your possessions can't get hana from me, you should not be able to get hana from me. So basically, we've disproved this interpretation of Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina. So we need to revamp our understanding what Shmuel is saying. Elahachi itmar. This is what Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina was teaching. Mudar ani lecha. If I say lecha does not automatically go both ways. We're going to see what this means. Mudar ani lecha. I am asur to you. Shneim asurim. They're both asur to each other. We're going to see it's not because automatically it includes my nechasim, but it's for a different reason. But mudrani heimach, if I'm asur from you, then I'm asur and you're mutter. Who asur? Who the chaver mutter. He's asur and his friend is mutter. So what Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina meant is there's a difference between licha and hema and mimcha. If I say mudrani licha, then they would both be asur. Mudrani mimcha, then I'm asur and you're mutter. Let's see the Ran. Elahachi imar. Am Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina mudrani lecha shneim asurim. The lecha mashma lecha. Lecha ma is mashma to you. Kalamar nichsi asurin lach. My nechasim are asur to you. Umasha mishalcha. It's to you and lecha and what belongs to you. Mudrani lecha means my stuff is asur to you, and mudrani lecha, and what belongs to you is asur. The word lecha means my stuff is asur to you, and mudrani lecha means what you own is asur to what you own. What you own is asur.
Our Mishnah doesn't use the lashon of lecha.
Exactly. So, but we first need to explain Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina, because Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina said, mudrani heimach shneim asurin. So we have to change that. Rabbi Yossi bar Rabbi Chanina meant mudrani licha shneim asurin. Now the Mishnah says mimcha, and meaning Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina is good, because we're saying what Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina meant, that they're both asur, is only by licha. Heimach, if I say from you, so then I'm asur and my friend is mutter. We're going to come to Shmuel in a minute. Look in the Ran. The Ran says, okay, v'nira be'enai dehachi perusha, de kasaka daita chashta, de Shmuel hachi daik masnisim. We think right now that this is how Shmuel understands the Mishnah. The kivan deloy tnan elachad asur, since the Mishnah only says asur one time, vaday chada katani. The Mishnah is teaching one case. The kivan de chada katani. If the Mishnah is teaching one case, al karcha heimach de reisha, lav dafka. The heimach of the reisha is not dafka, du adin belach. Even if I say lach, the halacha would be that the kivan the Messiah milsev amar shani oichal, afilu yamar lach loy mashma de shnei masron. Even if you would say lach, when you say lach, Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina holds they're both asur. But since the Mishnah is one case, and in the one long case you explain shani oichal lach, shani toyim lach, then that would be even if you said lach, because in that case ela dehu asur v'chaver muter. Umishum hachi ka'amar Shmuel. Therefore Shmuel said, "Haydik tani tana de b'madrani bein de amar heimach bein she'amar lach hu as v'char muter." This that the beginning of the Mishnah says mudrani. It doesn't matter whether you say from you or to you. You know when that is true that I'm asur and you're muter. That's if you add kisha'amar shani oicha v'shani toyim. But if I don't add that, then Heimach and Lach are not the same, because Licha, we would both be Aser, and Heimach, only I would be Aser. In other words, the way Shmuel is understanding it is that he's saying that when the Mishnah said Madrani, what's the lashon of the Mishnah? Madrani Mimcha. It's Lav Dafka Mimcha. It's even Licha, because once you qualify it with Shani Oichel, then even Licha would be qualified that I'm Aser to you and you're Mutter to I'm Aser to you and you're Mutter to me. So the Gemara says like this. V'hamasnisin, the problem is the Mishnah says Mimcha. V'hamasnisin l'ktani heimach. The Mishnah says from you. V'okimna l'masnisin l'shmuel, and Shmuel. Right, here's the problem. Right now in the Havamina we thought the Mishnah was Lav Davka when it said Mimcha. It's even Licha. And that's why you need to end off Shani Oichalach. Because since Licha would include both, you need to qualify it with Shani Oichalach. But now upon a further examination, the Mishnah says Mimcha. Mimcha would only aser me to you. So why does it have to be qualified with Shani Oichalach, Shani Tayimlach? So the Ran says, look in the Gemara. The Gemara says, wait a second. But the Mishnah says Heimach. That's what Rabbi Asi pointed out. And we established the Mishnah like Shmuel, that Bekulan in all of them, Ad Sheyomer Shani Tayimlach v'Shani Oichalach. Only in that case, Hu da Aser v'Chaverei Mutter. But Avon b'Medrani Himcha, if you would say Medrani Mimcha, Shneim assume they would both be Aser. But why would they both be Aser? I thought only by Licha they're both Aser. But now, the way Shmuel was reading the Mishnah, it sounds like even Mimcha they would both be Aser. Look in the Ran. Shas doesn't like what we just said. Even though Shmuel is saying something correct, according to Tana the Mishnah, there would be no difference. Shmuel should not have unqualified his statement to Masha the Kai Alishna the Tana, which is Masha, it's going on the lashon of the Tana. Tana behedya dahainu heimach v'lo medishneim asurin. Meaning the lashon of Shmuel is mashma that the qualification of Shani Oichalach is needed for the case of the Mishnah where you said Mimcha, but for that case, that's not needed to be qualified. You only need to qualify Licha, but not Mimcha. So basically, we don't like this interpretation of Shmuel. So we're going to throw it out the window. Ella, rather, meikara de Shmuel hachiyamar. This is what Shmuel really said. You ready? A new interpretation. You know why you need to say Shani Oichalach, Shani Tayimlach? If you didn't say Shani Oichalach, Shani Tayimlach, then not only would you be aser in eating, you'd be aser in hana. So by adding Shani Oichalach, Shani Tayimlach, now you're only aser in achila and you're not aser in hana. Ella meikara de Shmuel hachiyamar. This is what Shmuel is teaching. Taima the Amar Shani Oichalach v'Shani Tayimlach. The reason is where he said that I'm going to eat from you and I'm going to taste from you. Hu de'ein hu aser ela ba'achila. That's why he's only aser ba'achila. Ha mudrani mimcha. But if you would just say mudrani mimcha, then aser afilu b'hana. You know what Shmuel meant when he said that the Mishnah is one long case? That what he was saying was, if you just said mudrani or mufreshani, then you're aser even in hana. Shani oichalach v'shani toimlach makes it that you're only aser ba'achila. Frak the Gemara, wait a second. If so, why didn't Shmuel say this? He should have said v'im loy amar shani oichalach shani toimlach. If you didn't say that I'm going to eat from you, I'm going to taste from you, then aser afilu b'hana. Then you're aser even in hana. Look in the Ran, Elamei Kar de Shmuel Hachiyamar. Avol madrani mimcha aser. If you would have said madrani mimcha, you'd be aser afilu b'hana. Kalamar diadayim she'enon meichichais haven yadayim. A handle which is not conclusive would be yadayim. Umisham hachi aser afilu b'hana. Therefore, it's aser even in hana. If you would have said madrani mimcha, you would have been aser in hana. You need to say shani oichelach to only be aser ba'achila. So the Gemara asks, hachi garsini hachi lema shmuel hachi imloi amar shani oichelach aser afilu b'hana. Kalamar hechi kamar Shmuel. How could Shmuel say ad sheyomer? Until you say the words ad sheyomer, until you say demasha di loy amar hachi. The words ad sheyomer imply if you don't say this, you wouldn't be aser. But it's not true. If you wouldn't say this, you would be more aser. You would even be aser in hana. Loy mitzar adarabi loy amar hachi mitzar tfei v'avlei frusha v'leimer hachi. Shmuel is very unclear. If that's what Shmuel meant, ad sheyomer, it's not aser until you say it. It's not true. If you don't say it, you're even aser in hana. By the way, the Ram points out the Gemara could have asked this on an earlier step. On the earlier step, that if you don't say shani taimlach, they're both aser to each other. The Gemara should have said, well, Shmuel should have clarified that if you don't say shani oichalach, then you're even more aser. Yeah. The Daf Hashavua took out that line in the Ran that it's not mandatory, but in my yeshiva that would be a mandatory line. Yeah, because I mean this is a kasha the Gemara could have said in a previous fine. Ella. Rather like this. Ella, this is what Shmuel means. Ella hachi amar, this is what Shmuel means. Taima de amar sha'ani oichalach v'sha'ani taimlach. The reason is, you know why? I'm aser. It's only aser because I added sha'ani oichalach v'sha'ani taimlach. That's who the aser. But if you just said mudrani himach, Loi, you would not be aser. Loi masha da amar aser. It's not mashma even that he's saying that you'd be aser. You know why you're aser? Because you added shani oichalach v'shani taimlach. But if you wouldn't have said shani oichalach v'shani taimlach, then the words madrani mimcha for shani mimcha are not even mashma that it's aser. My taima, what's the reason? Mudar ani mimcha. You know what mudar ani mimcha? It means loy mishta'ina b'hadach. I don't want to talk to you. Mufreshani mimcha means deloy avidna imach ma'asamata. I'm not going to do business with you. Mashma. Merchukani mimcha deloy ka'imna b'dar amas tilach. Mashma. That's mashma that I won't even stand in your 4 amais. Look in the Ran. Ela hachi kamar. Taima da amar kolomer la'olam kinamrin mikara. Really, we go back to what we thought originally, the chiloi amar sha'oichalach mutter, that if you don't say sha'oichalach, you would be mutter. If you don't say the word shani oichalach, you'd be mutter. Now, originally we thought it would be mutter, because it's yadayim she'enon meichichais. It's yadayim. Madrani mimcha is a handle, but it's not a conclusive handle. That's what we thought originally. We're going back to what we thought originally, that if you didn't say shani oichalach, it's mutter. And the reason is mishum delay mashma the amar aser, because it's not mashma. It would not be mashma that you're saying it's aser. The havalahu yadayim she'ein meichichais. It would be handles that are not conclusive. Look in the Ran. V'loy havin yadayim, and they're not yadayim. The dilma madrani himcha delay mishtim b'hadach mashma. Maybe it just means I'm not going to talk to you. And if that's what I meant, I would be allowed to talk to you. We don't know if he meant I'm not going to get hana, or maybe he meant I'm not going to talk to you. Which, by the way, if he meant I'm not going to talk to you, it's not binding. Either way, it would be a handle that's not conclusive. The time of the Shmuel mishum the kasar yadayim she'ein meichichos loy having yadayin. Since the reasoning of Shmuel is, what does Shmuel hold? Shmuel holds, the reason why you have to say Shani Oichalach is because he holds Yadayim Shani Eino Machichos is not Yadayim. But we have a brisa that says Mili, that you don't have to add Shani Oichalach, Shani Toimlach. That's fine. So we can't ask on him from the brisa. Meaning, the Ran is bothered, well, if Shmuel holds you need to say Shani Oichalach, Shani Toimlach because you need Yadayim Oichichais, then why don't we ask on him from the brisa? That the brisa Mili Katani. That means you don't have to add Shani Oichalach. That's not a question. The Kivan the Plukta the Tanohi, it's a straight, we know it's a machlokes Tanoim. I havin Yadayim Eloi. Whether Yadayim Oichichais are Yadayim or not Yadayim. So you could say Shmuel holds Yadayim Shen Mechichais Loi Havi Yadayim, and the Tana the Brisa holds Yadayim Shen Mechichais Havi Yadayim. Ikalamema the Tana the Brisa Sfirule the Havi Yadayim Ushmuel Daik Mimasis and Loi Havi Yadayim. We asked earlier on Shmuel from the Brisa, why couldn't we say? Shmuel argues on the Brisa. Shmuel holds that Yadayim Shen Mechichais Loi Havi Yadayim, and the Brisa holds Havi Yadayim. No, earlier on, we thought what Shmuel was saying was that if you don't say Shani Oichalach, it's not even Yadayim She'enon Moichichais. Shmuel, originally we thought when Shmuel said you have to say Shani Oichalach, Shani Toimlach, is because if you don't say that, it's a meaningless statement. So we asked on him from the Brisa, we see from the Brisa it's meaningful. But now we're saying the reasoning of Shmuel is that it's not Moichichais if you don't say Shani Oichalach, Shani Toimlach. The Brisa holds that Yadayim Shein Moichichais is good. Okay, that's a well-known machlokes already. It's a well-established machlokes whether Yadayim She'eino Moichichais having Yadayim or Loi Havi Yadayim. Okay, Rabbi Yisai, that's Daf Hey Amud Aleph. Okay? Now, I will admit something to you off the camera.
Recording.